What's going on, everyone? So in an absolute shocking move, the Portland Trailblazers ended up just buying out DeAndre Ayton. And it's shocking because it's like they couldn't have gotten anything for him, right? He's a really good center. He's kind of in this like weird spot. He's one of those guys that just can't get out of his own way. 18 and 10 center, look like he might be the real deal in a star. I mean, when Phoenix goes on their title run, right, to the NBA Finals. They didn't win the championship, but they got to the NBA Finals against Milwaukee. He was huge on that run. It's like, man, if every team in the league would love to have that Ayton. And he just is a guy that just hasn't been able to get out of his own way. Low motor, kind of question marks and buy-in on the defensive side of things, the hustle, the work. But you just watch him and you see the tools and just the raw talent on this guy. This guy has the potential in the right situation. If he just gets himself right, he's a guy that could easily be a difference maker for a team, right? But it's just, again, what is that team? What is that organization? I think you need something that gives him a fresh start, has the culture and the respect from Ayton in order to kind of get him in line, that knows how to deal with guys to kind of get them focused, right, and on the right ship. And I think a team like the Spurs is one of those teams. Now, look, Ayton's a guy that I wouldn't want the Spurs to go trade for, just because, again, $35 million in salary. It's a lot to give up salary-wise. He is a risk. If it doesn't work out, you're kind of stuck, and it's just like, you don't want to be in that position, or you're letting him walk, and now you just gave up whatever you gave up for nothing. I wouldn't want the Spurs to go and trade for him. But on like a flyer, right, on like a prove-it deal, and then maybe be able to sign him long-term if it works out, I don't hate the idea. I mean, DeAndre Ayton, again, is incredibly talented. And the beauty of Ayton is he doesn't need plays ran for him. He can create. He can just get offensive rebounds and do things. He's a guy that can run pick and pop action. There are concerns about him defensively. But I think a lot of that is just him buying in and being focused, right? It goes into the motor side of things. Where if you can get him right, I do think he can be maybe not elite defensively, but good, serviceable defensively. But you also have a guy in a Victor Wembanyama that could be that help defender, right? And then it begs the question of like, do you really need a starting center, or should you be focused more on a backup center? But a guy like Ayton, the low risk, high reward type thing might be too good to pass up, to where you try to make it work and you see. You're probably not winning a championship this year anyway, but if it works, you look like absolute geniuses. You can sign that long term, and he's young enough to be a key piece for 6 years, because he's 26. He'll be 27 next month, and he's a guy that, again, that gives you the rebounding, the offensive versatility that he has and brings to a team. He's a guy that I think could slot in, and you have the infrastructure to kind of get him right, get him focused. Now, a couple things worth mentioning. One, he doesn't clear waivers till Wednesday. So anywhere he does go, it's possible that you could get the announcement, and but it won't be official until that actually happens. Two, he's probably going to the Lakers, right? That's like seems to be the consensus thought. Plus, him and Luka share the same age and all that stuff. So I think the money would be that he goes to the Lakers. They need a clear-cut starting center. He'd be able to fill that role, kind of go to the Lakers, spotlight, all that stuff, and kind of reshape his image, reshape his brand if he's really good for them. Plus, he'd have a Luka and LeBron that kind of elevate him. Right? So I do think, for being honest, Ayton to the Lakers probably makes the most sense for Ayton. I think it makes the most sense for the Lakers. Like, it's worth mentioning for those that are like, yes, go get Ayton. Like, yes, that's the guy. Keep in mind, you're competing with the team in the Lakers that they desperately need a starting center, where as the Spurs, they have Wemby, right? So does Ayton also look at that and go, okay, like, so Wemby's playing the 5, like me and Wemby, would that work type thing? But Wemby wants to take 10 threes a game, So it's like, it'd be nice to kind of have that interior presence in a DeAndre Ayton, a guy that can offensive rebound, a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective and can do things out there. And when he's bought in and focused, is just an excellent player and addition. It's just, again, it's a risk. It's a risk for anybody who gets him, right? And that's something that needs to be kept in mind. But if you can get him cheap on a 1-year proof, like, my concern wouldn't be him this year, right? Because you probably get him pretty cheap, and he's going to be in a contract year, so he's going to want to be even better and prove himself. My concern would be if it does work and you now have to go sign him, what is that contract? And can it be good enough to where you can get out of it if you need to? Right? Because, I could see something where Ayton goes to the Spurs. He goes and drops, whatever, he gets back to being 18-10 and just looks every bit the part again. And everyone's like, oh, see, look, he just needed the right organization, the right infrastructure, the right culture, the right players, that, and the other. And he was right. It wasn't him. It was Phoenix, and it was, Portland and all this stuff. Right? Like, I can see that conversation, and then time comes, you got to pay him, and then he wants $25 million a year or whatever. So you give him 4 years, $100 million, and then that motor starts to die down, and now it's like, oh no, he was there all along, right? Like that would be the concern. And so on like a 1 year prove it deal, it is incredibly low risk, high reward. And also because you're not gonna have to pay him much, if anything, because he's getting it from Portland, right? So you're just having him come in and kind of hopefully get like the best version of him. And if you do, probably in really good shape. But again, it's what happens after that. Like, see, I told you I could do it, now pay me. And then you pay him and he's like, gotcha, right? Like, that's where the dilemma lies. But what can he provide? Let's go over some numbers, right? Because I think that's important. Again, his age, 26 years old. Talking about a guy 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan. So he's got the size, the length, all the things that you want as far as being able to be a presence on the inside. He's 250 pounds, 255 pounds. So he's got, again, good size, all of that, right? He's not a guy that's going to get bullied and pushed around or anything in that regard. But what does he do, right? 40 games played last year, 40 games started, 30.2 minutes per game. He actually had one of the worst seasons of his career that year, since his rookie year and stuff. But 11.7 field goal attempts, which is the second fewest of his career. He had a season which he averaged 10, which was his third year. But yes, 11.7 field goal attempts per game. Shot 56.6%, which was the second fewest of his career. And then 3-point range on the largest attempts, but it's 0.8. He's not a guy I really want taking threes. Obviously, if you're in a position where you kind of have to, it's like, hey, yeah, take it if you have to. In the shot clock and he just has it, it's like, you're not going to get the turnover. At least get it up to the rim, then sure, but not something I'd want him like, oh, hey, let's have him take 5 threes a game. Probably not a good idea. But he shot 18.8%, so basically 19% from 3-point range last year. 10.9 attempts, so basically 11 attempts from 2-point range, in which he shot 59.4%. And then from the free throw line, 66.7%. But he is a career 76% free throw shooter guy, and the previous year he was 82.3. Last year was by far his worst free throw shooting season. The previous worst was 74.6, so like 8% worse than what his previous worst was. So he's a good free throw shooter. Rebounder, 10.2 rebounds, including 3.1 offensive rebounds, 1.6 assists, a steal, a block. So again, guy that can give you the stats. You look at the previous year, 55 games played, 55 games started, 32 minutes per game, 13.6 field goal attempts, 57% from the field, 57.6% from 2-point range on 13.4 attempts, 57.1% EFG, 82.3% from the foul line, 1.4 attempts, had 11.1 rebounds, including 3.2 offensive rebounds. He is a career 3 offensive rebound a game guy. 1.6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 16.7 points. So again, a 17-11 guy. And then last year, in one of his worst years, was still a 14-10 guy. It's perfect. If you can get Ayton, I don't hate the idea. Couple other names that I would prefer, if I'm being honest, and I'll touch on those in other videos. But if you can get Ayton, go get Ayton, right? I think it would be, for a team that's young enough to take the risk, why not? If you were kind of like a veteran team that's trying to win now, it's like, hey, we got to win today. then, maybe it kind of, maybe that's not worth it type thing. Maybe we just look at a quality backup. But because you're a young team that's probably not winning a championship this year anyway, it's like, hey, see what you can do with them. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.